For years, they were the perfect team. Two faces of a love story that changed television forever. Sam Heughan and Caitriona Balfe were untouchable, professional, graceful, and always united under the spotlight. Fans adored their chemistry, their friendship, their loyalty to each other. But behind that polished harmony, something had been quietly hidden, something that even the most devoted fans never imagined. And it wasn't until recently that Caitriona finally decided to speak. It happened during a quiet interview, not one meant for headlines. She had been asked about Sam, about what it was like to share a decade of her life working beside the same man. At first, she smiled, that familiar warmth lighting up her face. But then, for a brief second, her expression softened. She took a deep breath and said words no one expected. "There's something about Sam that people don't know. Something he never wanted anyone to know." The interviewer leaned forward. Caitriona hesitated, as if deciding whether to continue. Then she nodded slowly. "He always carried so much, more than anyone realized. Even when things were difficult for him, he protected everyone else first. He hid that side of himself because he thought the world only wanted to see the strong version." It wasn't a scandal she was revealing. It was something much deeper. The truth of who Sam Heughan really was when the cameras stopped rolling. Back in the early days of Outlander, when the series was still finding its footing, Sam had faced unimaginable pressure. Overnight fame, constant travel, relentless expectations. To fans, he looked unstoppable, the heroic Scot who could handle anything. But what few knew was that behind the strength, there was silence. He was exhausted, sometimes isolated, and fighting battles no one saw. Caitriona, being closest to him, had witnessed it all. She remembered nights when filming would end long after midnight and Sam would stay behind to help crew members pack up equipment. He'd check on everyone, from camera operators to makeup artists, asking if they were okay, offering a word of encouragement before heading back to his trailer alone. He never complained, Caitriona said softly. Even when he was struggling, he'd laugh and say, "We're lucky to be here, right?" But I could see it, the weight he was carrying. As Outlander grew, so did the myth around Sam. Interviews painted him as the flawless leading man, disciplined, humble, tireless. He smiled through every question, every press tour, even when personal storms were brewing quietly behind the curtain. There were times when scripts changed last minute, when pressure from studios intensified, when rumors and gossip invaded his privacy. But Sam never pushed back publicly. He held it all inside, believing that vulnerability was weakness. Caitriona's voice trembled as she recalled one night in particular. They had been filming a grueling emotional scene in the Scottish cold. When the director called, "Cut," Sam stayed on the ground longer than usual. He didn't speak. She walked over, knelt beside him, and realized he was shaking, not from the weather, but from pure exhaustion. "I asked him if he was okay," she said, her eyes glistening as she spoke. He just smiled and said, "It's fine, it's part of the job." But I knew it wasn't fine. For years, she kept that memory to herself. Sam never wanted anyone to know how hard it really was. To the world, he was the strong one, the calm center of chaos. To Caitriona, he was human. A man giving everything he had to everyone else, while quietly breaking inside. The interviewer asked why she decided to share it now. Caitriona took another deep breath. Because people see the hero. They see the success, the fame, the perfect image. But they don't see the man who sacrificed pieces of himself to hold everything together. I think it's time they do. Her words spread across social media within hours. Fans who had followed Sam for years were stunned. Some said they always suspected something deeper behind his calm demeanor. Others admitted they were brought to tears. The man they admired for his strength suddenly felt even more real. And yet, Caitriona wasn't finished. Before the interview ended, she added one last line, one that would echo through every headline and fan discussion that followed. He didn't want anyone's sympathy. He just didn't want the world to see him when he was hurting. But that's the part of Sam people should know, that even heroes bleed. The world had seen Sam Heughan as the man who could endure anything. But for the first time, through Caitriona's voice, people were seeing the truth he had worked so hard to hide, the heart behind the hero. The question now was, why did he hide it for so long? After the interview aired, the internet erupted. For the first time, the world saw Sam Heughan not as a flawless icon, but as a man who had quietly endured far more than anyone knew. Hashtags filled timelines. Hashtag respect Sam Heughan. Hashtag no more secrets. Hashtag real strength. But while fans shared their shock, Sam himself stayed silent. No statement, no response. Just silence, the kind that speaks louder than any words. Those close to him said he had watched the interview alone, sitting quietly in his home in Scotland. He didn't expect Caitriona to say what she said. He didn't ask her to. But as he listened to her voice tremble through the screen, a wave of emotion washed over him. Not anger, not embarrassment, but something closer to relief. For years, he had built walls around his pain, believing that being strong meant being silent. But now, someone had opened the door he'd kept locked for too long. And it wasn't just anyone, it was the one person who had walked beside him through it all. In the days that followed, Caitriona reached out. According to a source close to them, she sent a short message. I hope you know I only said it because you never would. People deserve to see who you really are. Sam replied simply, thank you. Maybe it's time they do. And that was the beginning of something new, not a scandal, but a healing. For nearly a decade, Sam had hidden more than exhaustion. Behind his calm exterior, there had been moments of deep self-doubt. He had struggled with the relentless scrutiny of fame, the way every smile was dissected, every friendship questioned, every rumor amplified. In private, he worried about letting people down, about never living up to the version of himself that fans adored. He once told Caitriona during a night shoot in season 4, sometimes I feel like they love Jamie more than they could ever love me. She didn't answer at the time. She just placed a hand on his shoulder, the way friends do when words aren't enough. Now, years later, she finally gave voice to that truth for him. The response from fans was overwhelming. Instead of judgment, they offered compassion. Letters poured in, not about his roles or his fame, but about his courage. The courage it takes to keep showing up even when you're silently falling apart. Soon after, Sam addressed the moment publicly for the first time. In a heartfelt interview, he said, I've always believed in keeping parts of my life private. Maybe too much, but hearing Caitriona speak reminded me that there's strength in being seen, even when it's uncomfortable. He paused, his eyes glistening as he continued. I didn't want people to worry about me. I wanted to protect the team, the fans, the story. But I think, somewhere along the way, I forgot that it's okay not to be perfect. The admission resonated deeply. The man who had built his career on portraying resilience was finally showing what resilience really looked like, vulnerability. Caitriona, too, spoke again a few weeks later. During a charity livestream, when asked about the now famous interview, she smiled softly and said, I didn't reveal a secret to expose him. I revealed it because he deserves to be seen for who he is, not just the hero, but the human. She added quietly, he's the strongest person I know. But strength isn't about hiding pain, it's about surviving it. Those words changed the tone of the entire conversation. It was no longer about what Sam hid, but about why he felt he had to. The entertainment industry often demands perfection, constant smiles, endless gratitude, no cracks allowed. But Sam's story, told through Caitriona's compassion, broke that illusion. It reminded the world that even those who inspire millions can feel small, tired, and human. In one final reflection, Sam shared something that felt like a confession and a lesson all at once. For years, I thought being strong meant carrying everything alone. But maybe real strength is letting someone see you, truly see you, and still stand beside you anyway. Caitriona did that for me. I'll never forget it. The revelation didn't weaken his image, it transformed it. Fans didn't see a broken man. They saw a brave one. When the two reunited for a press appearance months later, their bond seemed deeper, gentler. They laughed the same, teased each other the same, but there was something new, a quiet understanding. A freedom. Before leaving the stage, a reporter asked Caitriona what she thought about the phrase, "No more secrets." She smiled, looking at Sam before answering. "I think it just means honesty, the kind that heals. We've both learned that hiding pain doesn't protect you, it just keeps you from being known." Sam nodded, his voice calm but full of meaning. No more masks, no more pretending, just truth, messy, real, human. And in that moment, the illusion that had followed them for years finally faded. What remained wasn't scandal, or sorrow, but something far more powerful. Two people who had walked through fame, fear, and silence, and emerged with honesty and grace. No more secrets. Just Sam Heughan, real, imperfect, and finally understood.